Today's forecast is going forward mostly sunny, becoming partly cloudy. 40% chance of rain in Alamogordo, high of 95, low of 68. Cloudcroft, high of 76, overnight low of 49. For tomorrow, continue mostly sunny, a 50% chance of rain. Alamogordo tomorrow, high of 91, low of 68. Cloudcroft tomorrow, high of 72, low of 45.
This is the KNMZ Football Roundtable, Season 32. 5 local business people in a competition picking winners from the best high school, college, and NFL games every week. Manny Gonzalez from Charles Garland and Harris Agency, Brandon Burling from Desert Sun Auto Group, Timothy Brock of Christ Community Church, Jake Roberts with Coldwell Banker Sudworth Nelson, and Lara Conway of First National Bank. Now let's get to the picks. You're listening to Alamo AM 1230. This is the KNMZ Football Roundtable. Yes, we are back here on the AM station this week after we thought maybe we'd be back over to our FM home normally, but we're back here again. You can listen to us over on our ESPN Alamogordo YouTube channel as well, so happy to have everybody along, and hope they're having a very nice Friday. No Tiger football tonight, but we have Tularosa in the area. Mescalero Apaches at home as well tonight, so we got plenty to get to. Start off with Manny Gonzalez from Charles Garland and Harris Agency. Manny, how are you?
Good morning, Alamogordo, Tularosa Valley, Sacramento Mountains, Holloman Metroplex. Good morning.
Lara Conway from First National Bank. Lara, how are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
Happy to have you here. Very good.
Thank you.
Brandon Burling from Desert Sun Auto Group. What's up, buddy?
You know, just another beautiful day in the
Metroplex.
Metroplex. Yes.
the Metroplex.
I'm going to Google that real quick. I'm not really sure what that means.
If it isn't, I don't think it fits for our area, but it's a Mannyism, and we just roll with it.
We love it.
Yes.
Think big, Manny.
I'm listening from Los Angeles, Riverside, San Luis, San Bernardino.
Yes, that's a Metroplex.
and on you go, but we have an hour-long show.
There you go. Timothy Brock from Christ Community Church. What's up, buddy?
Good to be here, lady and gentleman. Multiple gentlemen and one lady here. That's great.
I like your shirt's kind of snazzy there.
Yeah, it's a Route 21 special. I think it was $3 on the clearance rack.
Nice. I like that. Good stuff. Jake Roberts.
Let's go on my side.
There you go. Jake Roberts from Coldwell Banker Sudworth Nelson. What's up, man?
Not much, guys. Happy to be here. Looking forward to another week.
Wait. He was Googling Metroplex.
I am. Yeah. And I can actually probably argue that Manny might be right.
All right. There you go.
I could play it for a little bit, but again, we only have an hour. So.
Yeah, we've been giving you a hard time about that, and Manny's right on the spot with that. So there you go.
I'm a wizard with a computer, man. You put me in front of a laptop, I got this. Let's go.
All right. So let's get on to our high school games for this week. First off, from last week, Tim and Jake both went 10-5. We didn't count the Alamogordo game because it got stopped early.
Well, Manny and I think that you should, because
I would take it too, yeah.
You know, they were ahead, so...
Yeah. The three of us would be okay with it. The three of them would not be okay with it.
I'm still okay with it because we'd still be winning.
Yeah, so for the record, just for the record, the people that picked against the Tigers, that outcome favored them.
Yeah,
we think it was early. I mean, we can't sit here and say for sure that Alamogordo would have won that. The way it was going, I think they would have won.
That was the best quarter of football we've seen the Tigers play in 2 seasons.
Absolutely.
Probably. Yep.
And talk about size. I mean, when you see him out there on the field, I was like, whoa, man, these guys grew up big time.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's great to hear.
Sophomore class that they had to go through trial by fire a couple of years ago. And, they're seniors this year.
Some sophomores and some juniors. You're exactly right. They got pushed around, and now they've got something to say.
Yeah,
they do. The JV beat Las Cruces last night, so that's cool.
JV's played well to begin the season. They played pretty well at Artesia. They ended up losing that game, but they also played
the score third quarter was 14-14 against the Artesia JV.
Yeah. I think they lost 21-14. So, yeah, that's definitely some positives. You like to see the JV. You like to see that the freshmen and the middle schools are doing well. So that's all part of building a good program. And I think Coach Cisco is really doing a good job to get that turned direction that I think we all want it to. So. Hopefully that'll be the case. But they're off this week, and it's only going to be a 9-game schedule. They've got homecoming coming up next Friday against Ruidoso, and so we'll obviously chat more about them. But talk about the Tularosa Wildcats. Very impressive for their opening game. They went out to Hot Springs in 146-6 last week, and just looked every bit as good as I think a lot of people were talking about they could be this year. I think this week probably a little bit tougher test against Socorro, who beat Thoreau last week 54-0. Both teams are 1-0. This was a game that Socorro won last year, and it seems like both teams maybe have taken a little bit of a step forward going into this season. So I expect a really competitive game out at Cerny Stadium tonight. I know that Tularosa fans are going to get out there and support their side. I'm sure there'll be a good amount of Socorro fans that make the trip, and wouldn't be surprised if there'll be some Alamogordo fans that'll be out there and to check things out tonight. Man?
Yeah, I like Tularosa at home. And Tularosa, that is a real tight-knit community, and they're going to be there, and the place should be jumping, so I'm going to go Wildcats at home.
All right. Larry?
I'm with Manny. The Wildcats at home. It's got to be them.
Okay. Brandon?
I think I'm gonna go Socorro. I just think Socorro might have a few more weapons, a little bit tougher roster.
I think it's a solid pick. I feel like this is a pretty even game.
Well, I think we're going to have a lot of even games, a lot of good matchups for week 2 here. Socorro beat Thoreau thoroughly. Was that?
Very nice.
54-0. But Thoreau is very weak, and Socorro I think is good. I think it'll be a great game. They did beat Tularosa last year, 2018 season, 27-12. So based on that, I know it is at home. I'm going to go Socorro, but I think this could go either way.
Okay. Jake?
So Thoreau who?
I don't know how to say it either.
Yeah, so unfortunately you kind of stepped on my moment there. I wrote my joke and it's already dead, so anyway, I'm taking Tule at home.
And I know, actually, I'm not totally sure if it's not Theroux is how you say that
Could be.
correctly. I think it might be. Because I heard somebody on a weather forecast say, because I guarantee it, the weather person knows how to pronounce everything, because when they pronounce it wrong, they hear about it. So.
For the record, Tim's joke was funnier. It was way better. It was way better.
Way is a little hyperbolic, that's fine.
I'm going to go Socorro. I feel kind of bad about that, but I think it's going to be a close game. That's all I'll say. I think both teams obviously can come out of here with this. It's not a lopsided one way or the other, but gives us an even split on it. So I'll go with Socorro. Good game up in Albuquerque tomorrow. This is a Saturday 1 o'clock game up in Albuquerque. Las Cruces High goes up to El Dorado. Bulldogs roll past Manzano 55-27 last week. El Dorado had no problem against West Mesa, beat them 51-0. So this was a really good matchup last year. I think El Dorado went down to Cruces and pounded the Bulldogs, if I remember right, put up like 60-something points. I'll have to go back and look at that score, but this is always a tough one to decide. El Dorado, has traditionally been one of the best teams in the Albuquerque area. Cruces is Cruces. I think a difficult one to pick, and maybe the road trip has a little bit to do with it as well. Laura, what do you like on this one?
Well, as much as I want to stay in the South and do all that good stuff, I'm going with El Dorado.
Okay. Brandon?
I would almost be tempted to take Cruces if they were playing in Cruces, but in Albuquerque, at El Dorado's record, what are they ranked? I think the number 1, number 2 in the state.
I think Volcano Vista is number 1. I haven't seen. I can't remember what the poll says the last time I saw it. So.
Cleveland is ranked number 1.
Isn't?
El Dorado's up there, I think, towards the top, but they're only more two spots below Cruces.
So 9 out of the 10 people who are voting are from Albuquerque.
Very true.
That can be true. It depends on which poll, because you've got the coaches poll, you've got the NM Preps poll, you can go to Max Preps. So it's all kind of.
I think I was looking at Max Preps. I'm gonna go El Dorado at home.
Tim.
Well, I'm loyal to the South, and just kidding. I'm going to go Las Cruces.
All right. Jake.
Yeah, I was going to take Cruces as well. El Dorado did go in there last year and kind of beat them, and I think what's more important than the road trip is the chip on their shoulder. So I think Cruces got a good shot on this one.
Cruces I think had a tougher matchup last week. El Dorado's kind of hard to get a gauge on what you learned from them beating West Mesa last week. The back-to-back road trips kind of worry me a little bit, so I'm going to go with the Eagles. Manny?
Yeah, Las Cruces traveled to Manzano last week, and now they're getting back on the bus and going back to Albuquerque. This is a tough one to figure out. But I went 6-9 last week, and in fact, I understand that my so-called friends are planning an intervention to find a gentle way to remove me for the Roundtable.
No, never. Not me.
Because what do you know about football? 6-9? Anyway, I want to take a chance. Since I have nothing to lose, I'm going to go Las Cruces on the road. I got a feeling.
All right. Jake, who did you go with?
Cruces.
Cruces, okay. Well, another even split.
It really doesn't hurt to follow Jake and I's lead.
Sure, I'll take that. All right, the band.
All the reason I come here is to watch you guys for the entertainment value. It's a great Friday afternoon break, right?
Says the guy who's been here for 32 years.
Oh, gee.
Thank you.
Yeah, after 1 week there, yeah. All right, Los Lunas and Clovis facing off. This is an interesting matchup. A couple of 1-0 teams. Los Lunas is a class below Clovis, so it's 5A and 6A here. Clovis, very impressive against Hobbs last week. 42-16 was the final. Los Lunas 28-0. Got the win over Piedra Vista last week. So, I think both teams, again, look solid in week one. Maybe edge towards the home team, maybe edge towards the bigger school a little bit in this. I think those are two equally. But, for Los Lunas, kind of an opportunity to really prove themselves this week. You go on the road and beat Clovis, and, they've, I think they're number one in the coaches poll right now in 5A. So they definitely feel like they can make this win happen. We'll see what happens. Brandon?
I've had a really hard time struggling with this one, and I've talked to a couple people, and they said, I think Clovis has got the upper hand. I'm going to go Clovis just because they're at home, but I would not be surprised whatsoever if Los Lunas doesn't come out with the win.
All right. Tim?
They did a good job setting that up, because I think you look at Los Lunas, they're kind of a historically an Artesia type team where they're a first-tier 5A school. I think Clovis lately has been more of a second-tier 6A school, but it's in Clovis. I was really impressed with how they dominated a very good Hobbs team in week one, so I'm going to go Clovis, but definitely one I would love to see.
All right.
Yeah, I could see this going either way as well. But Los Lunas did really, really good on the road last week, which was awesome. But Clovis, I did think, had the more impressive win, and they're at home. So I'm going to go ahead and take Clovis as well.
I think at home is the big thing for me, but this should be a fun game to watch. It's not a matchup we've seen very much. I can't remember Los Lunas and Clovis playing a lot in recent years, so I'm sure it's happened, but it's definitely not one that stands out. It's got to be exciting, I think, for both schools. Always fun to see a new matchup in there. So I think it'll be a good one. But I'm going to give the edge to Cal Fullerton's group at home in the purple place. I'll go Clovis. Manny?
I was wrong about both of these teams last week. Los Lunas went on the road, had a good win. Clovis notoriously starts slow. And so that's what I was thinking about when I picked Hobbs to go into the purple place. Los Lunas, I think, is number 2 in their class. Clovis is number 7 among the 6A. So I have to apply the old rule. Beat the people you're supposed to beat, especially in your place. Clovis.
All right. Claire?
Wow. So I'm going to completely go against every single one of you and pick the Tigers.
All right. That's not a bad pick. I think it's one to jump out there on with it, Los Lunas is a very, very good football team, so I think it'll be a lot of fun to see how that matchup goes.
Yeah, but peer pressure is important. And so, going last after 5 alpha males, pick the team.
Right. So, but
kudos to you. Kudos.
Last year, everyone picked Michigan. I picked Ohio State. So.
Yeah, but that's just because we don't like Ohio State. There's a lot of truth in it.
All right, Carlsbad taking on Goddard. Good matchup in the southeast part of the state. Carlsbad beat Artesia last week, 48-35, and Goddard shut out St. Pius on the road on a Saturday afternoon game, 21-0. So both teams coming off. I think Carlsbad probably coming off the more impressive win of the two, but I still think for Goddard, that was kind of a weird middle-of-the-day matchup, not exactly an easy one. So I think another interesting matchup. Goddard, I guarantee you, is just as good, maybe if not better than Artesia. We'll see as the year progresses. But this is another one where you're, again, looking at a 5A team versus a 6A team. But the 5A team's at home, so maybe that's a little bit of a difference there. It's not like it's a really long road trip between Carlsbad and Roswell, so it's not as if they're going to have to be sitting on the bus for hours and hours and hours. Tim?
Yeah, it's really kind of a mirror image of the previous one, right? We got a first-tier 5A team in Goddard. Carlsbad more like a third-tier 6A team, but they're trending in the right direction. And yeah, I think their win over Artesia is a little bit of fool's gold. I think we're all going to be inspired by that. I know I am. I'm going to pick Carlsbad.
It's not a bad idea, Jake.
Yeah, so Carlsbad did put up 48 points last week, which is awesome, but they gave up 35. And so it's such a close game. Now they're going to be traveling. Goddard's going to have that home field advantage, so I'm going to go ahead and take the Rockets on this one.
All right. I'm going with Goddard at home.
Yeah, Carlsbad was at home facing Artesia, and I was wrong about that game. And I also was wrong about Goddard going to Albuquerque to play St. Pius. So I'm relying on how wrong I was last week to try to do better.
I was relying on that too, so we're picking
I'm going to have to go with Goddard at home.
Larry.
Rockets at home.
Brandon.
You know, I like Roswell at home too.
Okay.
And they showed out St. Pius.
Well, if it was Roswell playing Carlsbad, I would have picked Roswell, just to be clear.
Yeah.
You think the Coyotes are a little bit better than...
Well, I think Roswell's got both of their programs are
they're both very
good this year. So
yeah, just the Alamos. Yeah, he's just giving you a hard time.
you can't call Goddard Roswell.
Yeah. I think Alamos District's going to be ridiculously tough again this year. I mean, just brutal when they get to the end of the season. Really interesting matchup in El Paso tonight. Cleveland goes down there to play El Paso Franklin. Franklin was picked number 1 by the El Paso Times as the top team in the city this year. Cleveland, obviously, they're if you look at the coaches poll, they're number 1. I think we've seen some other polls where they've been 2, but they're one of the best teams, if not the best team in New Mexico. So always kind of an interesting matchup because we've seen this with the Cruces schools and the El Paso schools in other years where, Cruces and Mayfield play some of the top teams in that city. So a little bit of bragging rights here, I'm sure. I'm not sure if Cleveland actually played Oñate last week or they just forfeit one. It shows it as a forfeit win on Max Preps, but I thought they played. I don't know why I think that. But
Where did the 50 come from?
If you forfeit a game, it's 50-0. Well, no, it's usually 2-0 if you forfeit. So I don't know. They must have played up to a certain point and.
I thought they had the lightning delay. I thought they got stuck in that.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
I think they did too.
I think so.
So the storm about the lightning?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
Franklin hasn't played a game yet this year, so that could be a little bit of an aspect to this as well. So we'll have to see. But Jake, who do you like?
Taking the storm.
Storm on the road. Man, this is such a tough one to choose. I think maybe just a little bit of the unknown with Franklin. Cleveland beat them last year. Yeah, I'm gonna go Cleveland, but I don't feel really good about it. Maybe.
Yeah, this is a good. El Paso Franklin is ranked number 1 overall. 91 among Texas schools. Now there's a gazillion of them, so 91 is pretty good.
It is Texas after all.
Yeah, I'm going to go Storm. I'm going to stay with New Mexico on this one. I have no basis, just Cleveland.
All right, Lara.
Cleveland as well.
All right, Brandon.
I'm going to go Cleveland as well. I mean, I'm going to hope that New Mexico goes down there and represents.
Tim.
Yeah, I'm going to regret this because I was going to pick Cleveland, but I get to go last, and I, like Laura, do not. Peer pressure's a joke, right? But Jeff Davidson for Cleveland, he was only a sophomore last year, and he was amazing. He's a junior now. El Paso Franklin's starting quarterback last year was a senior, so I don't know who they got now. But, dude, El Paso, they won, they're number 1 in El Paso, as you said. They won a game in the Texas State playoffs last year. So I was born in El Paso. That's my logic.
Oh, okay. I think it's a toss-up game. I mean, really, I don't know if it's a tough one to try to.
It's week 2. What do we really know about some of these people? And yeah, exactly. El Paso hasn't even played. So I mean, what do we know? We don't know anything at this point.
And regardless, I mean, even if Cleveland and Oñate had played that game last week, it's not going to tell. It's like West Mesa versus El Dorado. So, all right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll pick a couple more high school games, and then we've also got college games this week. There's no NFL preseason this week, so everybody. No one had a choice anyway. They played all of them last night anyway.
They only made the schedule.
Yeah. It's a little light on good games in the college football this week, and I figured I would give Jake his on there. So
I love you too, Charles.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. More of the KNMZ Football Roundtable here on Alamo AM 1230 coming up right after this.
It's celebration time here at Desert Sun Toyota.
Come help us celebrate our 25 years of being in business right here in Alamogordo, and Toyota's Model Year End Closeout event is happening this month. We have truckloads of brand new Toyotas hitting the ground daily to help us celebrate, along with the strongest factory incentives of the year. Right now, receive up to $1,250 cash back on the new 2019 Toyota 4Runners, or up to $1,750 cash back on the #1 selling Tacoma. Highlanders are disappearing with $3,000 cash back or 0% financing. These are just a few of the many great incentives happening this month at Desert Sun Toyota. Desert Sun Toyota's used car supercenter is stacked with a great selection of quality pre-owned vehicles that all have been inspected to receive our lifetime powertrain, only offered at Desert Sun Auto Group. If you're in the market for a pre-owned truck, SUV, or car, come see why so many people vote Desert Sun #1 auto dealer in Otero County year after year. Find our inventory at DesertSunToyota.com.
Hi, my name is Jake Roberts, and I'm a realtor with Coldwell Banker Sutter Nelson. Are you looking for your dream home, or are you looking to sell your property and need the guidance to get noticed? I can help you with professional real estate services today. Call me at 575-446-8574 or email me at jake@nmvistas.com. To view a list of our inventory, visit our website at alamogordo.coldwellbanker.com or visit us at 800 Scenic Drive in Alamogordo.
When someone thinks they have a better idea, like a new way to make it or a new place to take it, they start their own business. Every small business has not-so-small ambitions. We can help you with about every financial service you'll need, like e-statements to save your filing space, mobile banking from your smartphone, lines of credit for expansion, and online account access. To us, there's nothing small about small business. First National Bank, member FDIC. When you grow, we grow.
At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, we are proud of the great high schools in Alamogordo, Cloudcroft, Mescalero, and Tularosa. Our student athletes set a valuable example for everyone to follow. They work hard to succeed in the classroom and in competitive sports and contribute enormous time and energy to bring pride to their schools and community. At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, as we work hard to protect the families and businesses of Otero County, we proudly take pause to follow our student athletes and extend our best wishes for their success every day in the classroom and on game day.
Here at Christ Community, we are all about Jesus, we're all about people, and all about community. We are more than a building, more than a gathering. We are more than a religion. We are a place to belong, a place to be changed, and a place to experience relationship with God and others. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, and no matter what you've done, Jesus loves you, we love you, and you belong here at Christ Community.
KNMZ Football Roundtable, you're listening to Alamo AM 1230. If you're tuning in for Clark Howard, we'll have that back for you at the top of the hour. Yeah. We'll hopefully be back in our normal home here before too long, but we appreciate you guys tuning in. And talking about high school and college football this week. We'll get back to the pros next week with week 1 of the NFL season, the preseason wrap last night, thank goodness. And we're almost around to the NFL season. Less than a week away from the NFL season getting underway. All right, on to our next game. We had to switch up a little bit because I found out Del Valle and Mayfield played last night. Congrats to the Trojans for the win last night. Every schedule I saw that game on Friday, so oh well. So we switched it up with Belen and Farmington. Belen going on the road to play Farmington. Both teams are 1-0. Belen beat Del Norte 24-21 last week. Farmington beat Kirtland 53-33 last week. I don't think either of those wins should really knock your socks off by any means. Del Norte had, Volcano Vista Mercy rolled them last night, and Kirtland, I think they had a pretty good year last year in football, which is not something that has really been the case for them. So, but I think this feels like a really, really even matchup in all fairness. So, I think it'll be a fun one to check out. I think this is a home team thing for me. I'm going to go Farmington at home, but I would not be surprised if the Eagles get the win. Manny?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Scorpions at home have an advantage in this one. I'll go Farmington.
Okay. Laura?
Farmington.
Okay. Brennan? Not a bad one to jump out there on.
I'm going to go Farmington.
Okay. There you go. Tim?
I'm also going to go Berlin.
Okay.
I think that's pretty obvious to me.
All right.
I had Berlin on my sheet as well, so I'm going to stick with Berlin.
Okay. That even split there. So Manny, myself,
Super
and
excited.
Larry.
I thought it was just going to be me.
I know. This is I tried to pick as many even games as I could this
You did
week.
good.
So, Hobbs and Artesia, both teams coming off losses last week. Artesia not necessarily used to starting their season 0-1. I know they definitely don't want to start their season 0-2 at home. After that loss to Carlsbad, Hobbs, of course, lost to Clovis, as we mentioned last week. So, not a long road trip for Hobbs. It's another rivalry game, I would say. But I guess the question is, can you imagine Artesia going 0-2 when you make your pick here in a second? Laura?
I'll do this. Well, I guess it didn't matter last week I picked Artesia because we have a branch there, but I'll stick with that theory. So Artesia.
Ben?
I think this is going to be a great game. I think Hobbs is going to, come in, wanting a little revenge from their loss. I think Artesia, is going to be even more fired up, and I don't think you can. I don't see Artesia losing their home opener. I think Artesia.
All right. Tim?
Yeah, I think Artesia's lure is a little bit behind them. 7-5 last year. They play a really crazy tough schedule this year, and their district's tough. I think Jaron Lewis, the quarterback from Hobbs, is going to light him up. Artesia's going to score a lot of points too, but I'm going to go with Hobbs to outslug them.
Okay. Very good. Barry?
Ouch. My beard isn't quite that thick. It's a little bit more trimmed up. So, yeah, both these teams coming off a loss last week, which can't feel great for either one of these programs, but I'm just really hoping Artesia isn't going to go 0-2 at home. So I'm going to go ahead and take Artesia. I think they're going to play a little tougher in front of their home fans.
Let's see. I will go Artesia. Manny?
Man, you did good on this one.
Yeah.
This one is a head knocker.
It should be. Hobbs is. I hate to almost. It's not even necessarily a stereotype, but it just feels like with Hobbs football, you just don't really know what you're going to get. You feel like there's a lot of talent in that school.
A lot of underachieving.
Yeah, in football, it just doesn't ever seem to come to fruition for them. So they've had good coaches. Cleghorn was a good coach. Dollar was a good coach, and never seemed to be able to, really get them over the top.
Well, Artesia's on our schedule later. Hobbs isn't. I need Hobbs to overperform. I'm going Hobbs Eagles on the road.
All right. There you go. So we got a couple going with Hobbs. Not quite an even split. Their southeastern part of the state's matchup out there on the blue field, the Smurf turf in Lovington. Roswell will head out there. Roswell beat Ruidoso 53-13 last week. Lovington beat Chaparral 53-0. Probably not going to learn a whole lot from that Lovington win. Roswell, you'd expect them to beat Ruidoso. And again, this is a matchup of, a 5A team playing a 4A team. And one of the best 5A teams in the state playing. Lovington appears to be one of the better 4A teams in the state, but I'm not sure if they're necessarily the best out of the group. But could be an interesting matchup. I think a lot of us are probably going to edge with the guys in red, though. Tim?
Yeah. Manny just complimented you for picking games. This one will be.
I know.
I ran this sweep. I get it.
Yeah.
It'll be Roswell, and if you pick anybody other than Roswell, we thank you for pushing yourself further down the list.
Somebody's going to go Lovington.
No?
That person will not be me.
I'm going to go with the Coyotes. Manny?
I think Roswell's the best in their class. Lovington is up there too, but that blue field's not going to be enough. I'm going to go Roswell on the road.
Yeah.
Should I play with Tim and say Tim? No, I'm gonna go with the Coyotes.
Peer pressure.
Brandon?
I will take Roswell.
You guys are only making me out to be a prophet, that's all.
All right, moving on to our college picks for this week. I do want to mention again, of course, we got Tularosa at home tonight, 7 o'clock kickoff. Mescalero Apache plays Hagerman tonight at home. So best of luck to the Chiefs as they open up their season tonight. All right, moving on to college. 9th-ranked Notre Dame taking on Louisville. This is the Monday night game. Notre Dame getting 19. These first 3 games, mainly I put on there because we have fans of them on the... I did not put New Mexico State and Washington State on there because I really didn't want to talk about it. It would be great if New Mexico State went up there and gave the Pirates some trouble, but I don't think that's going to happen. As for the Irish, I think just wanting to get off to a good start. This is a true road game to begin the season. Louisville's had a solid program over the years. but you would expect the Irish to take care of business here, Manny.
Yeah, looking at the Irish schedule, they got Louisville coming up. Then we get the first of our days off. We got an off week the second week of the season. And we got another off week on October 19th. But after our first day off on September 7th, New Mexico goes to...
That's another off week.
3 days off. 3 days off. Queen of Heaven, touchdown, Jesus.
If you didn't hear what he said, they play the Lobos on the 14th, so, you know.
My buddy's going to that game. He's super excited about it. Is that Jeremiah?
Is he a Lobos fan?
He's a Notre Dame fan.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Jeremiah from the school?
Yeah.
I got that. I got that.
Oh, he's probably told around here about it.
Everybody. Oh, yeah, I heard Jeremiah's going.
Next week it'll be a tattoo. Like, it's good.
It's on the radio, guys. Thousands and thousands of people are tuning in right now.
There you go. Exactly.
Very disappointed nobody ever responded back to who I was picking as a team, by the way. I'm just saying. Give me some feedback. Let's go.
All right, it's Laura.
I gotta go with Notre Dame.
Okay. Brandon.
I'm going to go Irish as well.
Tip.
This will be another sweep. It'll be Notre Dame.
There you go.
You can't be a prophet when you're number 5. I'm taking Notre Dame here.
It's not as cool when I go second to last.
Pretty much.
It's not obvious.
I'm going to go with the Irish as well. All right, so Oklahoma gets Houston. I think this is the Sunday game. Oklahoma ranked number 4, 23-point favorites. Houston, again, is another program in that, kind of like that group of 5 that has been very good in recent years. And I think for a first game of the year, certainly could be some jitters on the Oklahoma side, but you would expect with the talent that they have. Is Hurts going to be the starting quarterback? I didn't know if they had named Hurts the starting QB. So they get Jalen Hurts, who had that great moment in the SEC title game last year at Alabama, and as a graduate transfer is now with the Sooners. Brandon.
This is Houston's second year. The coach is their second year head coach. Who is very familiar with the Oklahoma program. I don't think it's going to be a close game, but it wouldn't surprise me if Houston hangs in there a little bit more than the 24-point favorite that I've got. OU's going to win, no problem.
Yeah, this will be another sweep. That's a little more profit feel. Go second.
Jake. He doesn't know where to go after that.
I'm staying out of this. So Tim's going Oklahoma. I'm going Oklahoma. Yeah, that kind of makes a lot more sense. Houston, I do think will cover the spread, though. I think that way too many points to be given Houston. But yeah, I think Oklahoma's going to win this.
Yeah, OU will get the win, but I'm just hoping for a competitive game. Both the Notre Dame and this game, I'm hoping that we see Louisville and Houston, show up and at least give these guys a hard time opening game of the season. But I think the Sooners win it. Manny?
The over-under on this guy is 79. Where the defenses are behind the offenses? Is that what's up?
Or they think that Oklahoma's going to put up 70 and...
They do have Jalen now.
At least Jalen didn't have to trade...
Jalen's all right.
He didn't have to trade any of his hoodies. The hoodies were still all red, right? So there's something going on. I'm going to go Oklahoma.
Kind of a slightly different color of red, right? Like it's more of a maroon for OU kind of...
Yeah, but from a distance, you squint your eyes, it's red.
I think it'll be interesting to see what OU does with their defense this year. So...
Hopefully an improvement for them. That would be...
Absolutely, I agree. Couldn't agree more.
Or at least from your side, hopefully an improvement. I mean, I've got nothing against OU, but Lara, I'm sure as a Clemson fan, she'd be okay if OU wasn't that good.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go with Oklahoma.
Okay. Everybody likes the Sooners, no surprise. And this will be another sweep as well.
That's my job.
But you're going last, so that's why.
Okay.
We almost never put Alabama on the sheet, so I made sure I did that for Jake this week. There weren't a lot of great games out there, and I figured we'd put Bama on there. I can't believe that they chose Duke as their opening week matchup. I mean, this is like a special game. I think it's in Atlanta. I think they're playing this one. It's one of those kickoff games, and it's like, Duke? Really? I mean, and Duke has been better. I mean, they've been a somewhat decent ACC program, but I don't know. Bama's number 2. They're 33.5-point favorites.
It's no surprise that Alabama is going to probably win this game. But I will say this as a critique to Alabama. They do have a tendency to schedule some weak divisions and some weak games. I don't know if it's just a warm-up or something to get them into the season, but I do wish their schedule was a little tougher. Of course, it'd be on our sheet a little bit more, but I'm definitely taking the Tide.
Well, this is one of those games that, it's a non-conference. they should have a tougher game in this slot, but I don't know who made the decision.
They really don't, though. Well, I think Saban does. Doesn't he really control that?
I'm sure he has input. I mean, I'm sure he has input on anything and everything when it comes to Alabama.
That would be my
football.
critique to Alabama. As much as I like Alabama, that's my one critique. Their strength of schedule can be pretty leave a little to be desired.
Yeah, I think in the non-conference especially. I'm gonna go Tide, but like I say, Duke has they have been, for a program that was traditionally one of the worst teams in the country, they've at least been passable in recent years. So, Manny?
Saban is a master central planner. He has a plan, and this is all a test on his fan base, who normally leaves by the middle of the third period. He wants to see if they'll come out of the tailgate to come into the stadium.
And he gets really mad, especially in the home games when they're playing, Jacksonville State, and they don't stick around. It's funny to me.
Maybe that affects his paycheck. I don't know.
They call Alabama the Crimson Tide.
Lara.
I'm going to go with Bama.
Brandon.
How could you not?
Yeah. Tim. Yeah. Yeah.
I already marked everybody before.
I know.
I appreciate the nod.
There weren't a lot of really marquee matchups this week. I mean, Oregon-Auburn, I think, is by far the best.
I think that's
in
going to be
terms
the
of
best game.
I'm not complaining. This is week 2. I don't care. It's football.
Man, he's going to get a win.
We are in the season, baby.
All right, we'll go ahead and take a break. Come back. More of the KNMZ Football Roundtable here on Alamo AM 1230. Stay with us.
Here at Christ Community, we are all about Jesus, we're all about people, and all about community. We are more than a building, more than a gathering. We are more than a religion. We are a place to belong, a place to be changed, and a place to experience relationship with God and others. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, and no matter what you've done, Jesus loves you, we love you, and you belong here at Christ Community.
At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, we are proud of the great high schools in Alamogordo, Cloudcroft, Mescalero, and Tularosa. Our student athletes set a valuable example for everyone to follow. They work hard to succeed in the classroom and in competitive sports and contribute enormous time and energy to bring pride to their schools and community. At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, as we work hard to protect the families and businesses of Otero County, we proudly take pause to follow our student athletes and extend our best wishes for their success every day in the classroom and on game day.
When someone thinks they have a better idea, like a new way to make it or a new place to take it, they start their own business. Every small business has not-so-small ambitions. We can help you with about every financial service you'll need, like e-statements to save your filing space, mobile banking from your smartphone, lines of credit for expansion, and online account access. To us, there's nothing small about small business. First National Bank, member FDIC. When you grow, we grow.
Are you looking to rent or need someone to manage your property? Hi, I'm Jake Roberts with Coldwell Banker, Sudderth Nelson. Did you know that we are the largest property management company in Alamogordo? Whether you are looking for a short-term housing solution or to turn an existing property into a great long-term investment, give us a call at 575-437-1137. Visit our website today at alamogordocoldwellbanker.com or come by and see us at 800 Scenic Drive.
There are no further roadblocks scheduled on either Highway 70 or 54 South. For the latest roadblock information, the number to call, 575-678-1178. Today's forecast is calling for mostly sunny, becoming partly cloudy. 40% chance of rain in Alamogordo, high of 95, low of 68. Cloudcroft, high of 76, overnight, low of 49. For tomorrow, continue mostly sunny, a 50% chance of rain. Alamogordo tomorrow, high of 91, low of 68. Cloudcroft tomorrow, high of 72, low of 45.
Welcome back to the KNMZ Football Roundtable here on Alamo AM 1230. Thanks for tuning in with us. Again, we hope to be back on our 103.7 here before too long, but we appreciate your patience in getting back to that. All right, sticking with some college games. Congratulations to Laris Clemson Tigers last night. No issues against Georgia Tech,
except for 2 interceptions.
I didn't even watch the game.
Okay. All right.
52-14. ATN had a 90-yard touchdown run, but I guess Lawrence wasn't as sharp as he could have been.
Yeah, they're already saying it's going to affect his Heisman, and I'm like, calm down, people. It's
Right.
Open
Blow it up a little high. Come on now.
Maybe a little bit of hero ball last night trying to score some of those touchdowns. So, I'm trying to think. Florida, of course, got the win last week against Miami, so Tim was happy about that. That was an ugly game. Neither team should really feel proud of what happened there.
It was tough.
Yeah, but Florida got the win, so they should at least feel
entertaining,
somewhat proud of that. But yeah, and then of course my Aggies will be at Pullman and taking on Washington State, and the spread's like 30-something. So yeah,
give up the points. It's fine. Give them up, baby.
I think so. I think it's fair to say I think Washington State will beat them by 40 or 50. I would be surprised if they didn't. All right, here's an actual good game this weekend in the college football landscape. Oregon and Auburn, number 11 Ducks, number 16 Tigers. Auburn getting 4 points, and this is the one that's at Jerry World, right? It's in Dallas.
This one's in Dallas.
But I think an intriguing matchup, and I think a hard one to pick. I mean, I said Auburn getting 4 points. We haven't seen either team yet this season, so it's really hard to gauge on where this is gonna end up. Manny, what do you like in this one?
The Ducks. Auburn's favored by 3. The over/under is 56. I think Oregon's sitting at 11. Auburn's at 16. Is that right?
Yes.
I tell you what, I have to go Tigers because of the Tigers and they're at home. But I don't be surprised if the Ducks make it.
It's a neutral site, so just so you know, it's not a.
Where's it being played?
Dallas.
Dallas.
I didn't know that.
Arlington.
That's good information. In that case, I'm going Ducks.
Nice, you got the switch because of the details.
There you go.
Appreciate that, Charles.
Lara.
I'm gonna go with the Tigers.
Okay. Brandon.
Oregon had an off year last year.
Ever since Chip Kelly left, they haven't been quite the same program.
I kind of, I think I went out a couple times and tried to pick them last year, and it just, I don't know, it wasn't very impressive. I'm going to go Auburn.
All right. Tim.
So yeah, that's a tough one. Justin Herbert, though, he's the real deal. Get used to that name. He's going to be a high draft pick out of Oregon. Bo Nix is the freshman quarterback for Auburn. Auburn's defense, though, their mediocre SEC teams have recently beat top-tier Pac-12 teams. In fact, I think Auburn beat the Pac-12 champions Washington State last year in a bowl game, I believe. I'll have to look that up. Get the stat boy on that. Mario Cristobal, the new head coach at Oregon, he's had 2 top 10 class recruits. I think they're moving in the right direction. I'm going to go with the offense in Oregon to outscore Auburn.
Okay. Jake?
A mediocre SEC team is still an SEC team.
So, you know what? The lower half of the SEC has not been as good as it was when they were kind of in their heyday there.
Well, now they have an SEC West, or however that works.
But Auburn's not a lower tier SEC
No,
team.
they're not.
Mid-tier.
I forgot exactly the number, but I think Oregon's bringing back 11 seniors this year. I think they're returning 11 players, and I know they've always been strong. Their quarterback's going to be good. They're going to have a high-octane offense. However, I think Auburn's going to be able to keep them at bay. I think it's a shorter trip for them, and I'm going to go ahead and take the Tigers.
I'll make it a split. I'll go with the Ducks. I think it's a toss-up kind of game. Hard to really gauge on either team. Auburn's been very hit or miss at time in some of these big games in recent years, so certainly could be that way. But I think Oregon's a big question mark in terms of are they ready to get back to the prominence they were during the Chip Kelly era. So we shall see.
And both teams are returning quite a few starters, so they're going to be very well experienced teams. It'll be very interesting to see how this goes.
Okay. This game being moved to Tallahassee. This was originally going to be played in Orlando, but with Hurricane Dorian, they wanted to be a little safe with this. They moved it to a 10 a.m. kickoff. So it is a home game for Florida State as they take on Boise State. But an intriguing matchup. Florida State's, they've struggled, since Jimbo Fisher left, and even when he was there, things were starting to take a turn in a bad direction for them. So, and injuries were a big part of that. They had quarterbacks go down that certainly affected them, but Florida State's getting 6.5 in the last one that I saw. I don't know if that's going to move a little bit in the fact that they're playing at home. Boise State's always ready to take on these early season matchups, and this has been a little hit or miss for them on whether they can win these games, but it feels like a pretty intriguing matchup, and it certainly wouldn't be a bad pick to go with the Broncos, but we'll see who goes between them and the Seminoles. Laura, what do you like?
Florida State.
At home, she likes the Seminoles. Brandon?
And these Florida teams. They're not the same Florida teams in general. that they used to always be, and so they're so hard to pick. I mean, every single time it feels like I pick on them, they lose. I go for, or, I pick against them, they win. I can never tell anymore with them, but just for whatever it's worth, I'll go Boise State.
Okay.
Different, I guess.
There you go. I don't know if Tim can actually pick Florida State, whether it makes him feel so ill inside.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, they're not a major threat to me.
Being a Gators fan, don't you like hate them?
I don't like them, but I picked guys. I'm competitive. I want to win. So, yeah, I'm gonna go Florida State. They have a terrible defense, but I think they'll have a pretty good offense, and Boise State's gonna have a hard time stopping them. So,
yeah. Jake,
Seminoles.
Hi. Goodness.
Well, you just got done talking about Boise State.
Well, yeah, no, I just said I thought that they were good. I think it's a difficult game to pick. I mean, it's one of those that I don't. Florida State has been so average and almost bad in recent years, and Boise's at least used to being up towards the top. Unfortunately, it's the top of the Mountain West, which doesn't say a whole lot, but. Just for fun, I'm going to go Boise State. I mean, that's really what it is. They're a fun team to root for, I think, at the end of the day. So,
a Bronco team I can stand, and they do play fearlessly. They do play fearlessly. But this is 2,352.2 miles. If you had to drive it, it's 35 hours. That's a bridge too far, baby. I'm going Florida State.
bridge too far.
There you go. All right, good matchup that we've had. This has been the opener, I think, for these two teams the last number of years, Northwestern and Stanford, and two really smart schools, hard to get into, and their football programs have been good. Fitzgerald's done a great job at Northwestern, and Shaw's been solid at Stanford. Again, the program maybe not as good as they were at times under Harbaugh, but still very, very solid. 6.5 going to Stanford, who are ranked number 25. But again, this feels like another very even matchup that could swing either direction. So we'll see what happens. Brandon, what do you like?
I'm going to go Stanford. I've enjoyed picking them over the last couple of years, and they're at home, so Stanford.
All right, Tim?
Yeah, I always tend to lean Stanford as well. I'm going to go Stanford.
Jake?
This is one where I can see Northwestern going out there and getting it, but I'm still going to stick with Stanford, but I do think this is going to be a good game as well.
I feel like everybody's headed towards Stanford, so I'm going to go Northwestern.
Didn't Andrew Luck go to Stanford?
Yes, he did.
So in honor of his retirement, I'm going to go Cardinal.
Yeah, I didn't think to mention that to Brandon. I don't know if he's still in mourning over there or not.
I was trying to be nice, but now that it's out there.
I had to bring it up.
Saturday night, my phone's just ding, 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 and I'm like, what?
I think that was the reaction of most Colts fans. So
I thought it was a joke.
Yeah,
I saw it come across and I was like, is somebody just pulling my leg? What's going on?
Was this from an Adam Schefter fake Twitter account kind of thing?
Adam Schefter account.
My wife goes, it's just fake news. ESPN, I don't think so.
There's fake news there. Laura?
Stanford as well.
I guess I'm the only one out there with the Wildcats. I don't think it's a bad pick. Virginia and Pitt in the ACC. Everybody's 0-0, so I figured I'd throw this one on there. And I think these were both bowl teams last year, so I mean Virginia and Pitt have at least been good enough to finish above 500. And I think Pitt finished. I think they finished second. If they won the ACC, I think they won the ACC Coastal Atlantic. I don't know which one. I think it's the Atlantic. But they played Clemson in the ACC title game last year. So Cavaliers are getting 2.5 on the road against Pitt. And I like their throwback uniforms. That's about all I can say for Pitt. Virginia, I think I'd put this on here to make Tim happy, to make it a difficult pick. So.
Well, I got something to say.
Okay.
As long as the Dark Knight villain Bane doesn't show up at Heinz Field, which is where the game is going to be played, and destroys it,
Yeah.
then I think Pittsburgh's going to win.
Okay. Going with the Panthers. Jake.
I'm going to take a very cavalier attitude and still pick Pitt.
See what you did there.
I'm going to go Cavaliers. The odds makers got them 2.5 on the road. Gives me a little bit of faith that they can make that happen. So I'll go Virginia. Me.
This one I really have no idea. I really don't. Over under is 46. That is believable.
We've gone from 80 to 46.
That was like the Batman reference. Like, where did that come from?
That's your reference. Thank you.
I know.
I'm going Panthers.
Dark Knight Rises, very nice. Where?
Cavaliers. Virginia.
I go with
there. Yeah.
There you go. Brennan.
I'll go Pitt.
Manny, you went Pitt?
Pittsburgh
I would like
Penguins.
to take this opportunity to say that I picked Virginia to win the my bracket during March Madness.
So we're still winner.
It worked out really well for me. They won the whole thing. So I don't know why I'd be bitter. Jake.
That was a couple months ago. I've slept since then. I don't remember. I guess I don't remember as well as I thought I did. It would be the first time
They lost.
I was like, wait, what?
Interesting matchup with Ole Miss and Memphis. Memphis, again, been one of the better non-Power 5 programs, and an SEC program in Ole Miss that has struggled, since the Hugh Freeze stuff, which I guess he's at Liberty doing well from what I read. But Memphis getting 4.5 at home. I mean, that can't feel too good for Ole Miss that they're dogs against an American Athletic Conference team on the road. But Memphis, I'm sure, will be in the running along with Central Florida and the rest of that group in there. So we'll see what happens. You're wearing Memphis colors over there, Jake. You gonna go Memphis?
We're rolling Memphis.
Okay.
It's a Cole Baker shirt, but just saying.
What did you have as the favorite?
Bet 4.5 to Memphis.
So when I looked before I came, it was Memphis was at 6.
That could be. That might have moved a little bit.
Something changed there pretty drastically.
Might have just been the bets or the way the bets are going in there. So
I wore the color. Paying attention.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Memphis at home. I'll give them the edge because they're at home, and if the line is moving a little bit, clearly there's some money moving that direction, man.
The one that I gave Notre Dame, of course I'll be watching that, but of all the games, this will be the one that's most fun to watch. These are two fun teams to watch.
Yeah?
And I'm a little bit hesitant, but I'm going to go Memphis Tigers.
All right. Lara.
Ole Miss.
Okay. So I was hoping for a little jumping around on this one, Brandon.
Man, this is a tough one. Like, this is the one that I think out of everyone on here that I've kind of gone back and forth. I've got 2 check marks here by Ole Miss. Something's telling me to go Memphis, so I'm going to go Memphis.
All right. Tim.
The voice you were hearing to go Memphis was Jake, Charles, and Manny. But that's fine. I'm going to go with Laura. She's usually really good at picking games, and we just talked about the SEC. This is a lower tier SEC team, so we'll test that theory if the SEC is all that they think they are. They should win in Memphis. I'm going to go with the Rebels.
Okay. So that's our picks for this week. Of course, the NFL starts next week, and we've already given Brandon a hard time about Andrew Luck. But by the way, if you're looking for something entertaining, and if you never followed the Captain Andrew Luck Twitter feed, he signed off officially after the official retirement. So
It'll be interesting, though. I don't think Jacoby Brissett's going to be a bad step back for them either. I don't think it'll be a huge step back. I think they'll be okay.
I think he's been there. It's not like they're throwing somebody out there that hasn't been within the Frank Reich program. So
they could just keep him on his feet. We'd be okay.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the Colts. I mean, I don't think it's as doom and gloom as a lot of Colts fans are making it out to be.
It's doom and gloom. You're losing a perennial Hall of Famer at age 29. It is doom and stinking gloom.
But he's been injured for like the last 3 years.
The Colts did that to him.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's why they probably gave him the money that was in the rest of his contract.
They did that. When he says that he wakes up every morning and he can barely move, and he just is in constant pain all the time. I mean, he made the right move that most players don't have the nerve to do.
Yeah, 29. I mean, it's not something totally new. We've seen it with guys like with Megatron and with Barry Sanders and Jim Brown. Obviously retired really young. That's many years ago, but it does happen.
And it's good moves. And his dad runs the XFL, so
Conspiracy theory.
Well, maybe he'll just be a football coach for them next year somewhere. All right, reminder, Tularosa is at home tonight. Go support the Wildcats, 7 o'clock kickoff. Mescalero Apache's also at home tonight, so those are our 2 area football games. Tigers are on a bye week. Cloudcroft begins their season next week. So best of luck to Wildcats and the Chiefs, and we hope they have a great evening there. And we'll have Tiger football back on the sheet next week. We'll have our normal sheet next week, high school, college, pro, all that good stuff. And we'll let you know what station we're on next week as well. So that's it for the KNMZ Football Roundtable. You guys have a great one.
You're listening to Alamo AM 1230, KRSY Alamogordo.
From ABC News, I'm Daria Alding.